And this recording is going to be uploaded to YouTube and then shared out in our TLC YouTube channel that's going to be coming out pretty soon. And again, I'm going to hope to email everybody at the end of the convocation that YouTube link along with this PDF. So that way you don't have to wait to access the YouTube channel. So just keep that in mind that this will be recorded. Okay, so on my next slide, I kind of have today's agenda mapped out for you. So this BioSig training is going to cover many different things. The first one is, well, what is BioSig? What's the purpose of BioSig? Another one is student resources, that very important information that students should have access to in order to utilize BioSig appropriately. The next section is going to be posting BioSig information. I'm going to go through different ways that you can get this information in your Canvas course. Another video that's going to be covered is the student enrollment. So I'm going to be playing a video for you so you can see live, step by step, what a student has to do when they use BioSig for the very first time. And then I'm going to have a section dedicated to the BioSig being utilized in assignments and quizzes. And I'm hoping, if we're not too pressed for time, that I can leave out some time for any kind of questions and answers at the end of the presentation for the wrap up as well. Okay, so moving on. So what is BioSig? BioSig is a biometric signature gesture technology for identity verification. It's integrated into Canvas. So there's no need for you to try to download an app, add the app to Canvas. It's already there. It's already accessible and it's free. Everyone can utilize BioSig in their Canvas course. They don't need to do any additional steps to include this in their Canvas course. Please keep in mind that BioSig, and I'm gonna put a little spotlight on this, BioSig is not test security. So in order for us to meet the accreditation to be recognized by the state of Texas, we need to state that any courses that are being taught online or remotely, how do we know the student that's in that Canvas course is the student who enrolled to take that Canvas course? And what BioSig does is that it checks that box by stating, we know that the students who signed up for the course are the students that are the ones that are actually taking the course, because we require them to do a BioSig ID. So it's not test security. This can be included at any point in time within your Canvas course. It does not have to be connected to a quiz. It does not have to be connected to a test. So how does BioSig work? It's going to prompt the students to draw a unique BioSig password or ID using their mouse, using a mouse or a touchpad. And what BioSig does, that it captures that movement. So if you can picture my light, that's the movement that BioSig is capturing. So if I decided my password is going to be 4NE1, I'm actually going to have to take my mouse and draw those out. And BioSig is going to request the student do this at least 3 times, because what BioSig is doing is that they are recording the biorhythms, the movement of the mouse, so that way it becomes unique, almost like a signature. So that way, if anybody else tries to come in and I say, hey friend, can you take my quiz, or can you log on and do my Canvas course, here's my BioSig password, 4NE1, BioSig is going to know something's wrong, because let's say they start drawing the password and yet it doesn't reflect the usual way that I draw my password in. So that's just an interesting thing that you can keep in mind when you're using the BioSig ID. Another thing I want to bring to your attention is that during your Canvas course setup, it's been suggested that the student should create a backup ID that acts like a secret question. And you're going to see that being pantomimed for you and later on in this presentation. Now I'm going to go back a couple of slides here because I completely forgot to make this statement here. It's recommended that faculty who teach online and remote course sections require students to create a BioSig ID and to use it to verify their identities at least 3 times during the semester. So that was something that I wanted to point out. So at any given time, 3 times throughout the Canvas course, you should require students to use their BioSig ID. So that was just something I wanted to go back and reiterate. So moving on. So what are some of the requirements for BioSig? There are no hardware or software downloads required. BioSig works really great with certain internet browsers. So if a student says that, you know, my BioSig isn't loading, my screen isn't showing anything, this can be an issue if they're not using an internet browser that could be compatible with it. So keep in mind that if they're having issues, it might be because they're not using one of these items that are listed below. So, you know, Google Chrome is a great use to just make sure that they're using Google Chrome. Before I move on to our next section, Julie, were there any questions in the chat that should acquire my attention?
I just wanted Elizabeth to clarify her question. I didn't know what you meant, Elizabeth. Can we do more than that? Is that too burdensome to students? Oh, are you talking about the number of times that you're using BioSig? I think that's what she's referring to.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yes, you can always require more than 3. 3 is just a number that's been floating around for a couple years now. But yes, you can do more than 3.
Awesome.
Sorry.
Okay. No, you're great. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to move on to a different topic. It's called Student Resources for BioSig. This is going to be some information that you want the students to have access to whenever they're needing help with their BioSig. And again, it's recommended to at least have at least 3 times at least. Okay, so the number one thing that students are going to need help with the most is if they forgot their BioSig ID. So say they logged in and they did their password, they wrote it out with their mouse, and then they completely forgot the password they created. I'm just letting you know right now, the PAC Help Desk cannot reset BioSig IDs. BioSig ID is separate from Alamo. So BioSig IDs, they're going to have to go straight to the BioSig website. And I posted here for everyone is a BioSig link that they can click on, and it's going to direct them to a web page, and there the student can submit the help they need. So stress to your students that it's, you know, please don't forget, let them know in your Canvas. And I recommend to put this information around the orientation side, like week 1 information for students. I recommend that you add this to maybe even your syllabus if you like. And what the students would do is if they're having issues remembering the password, they would click on this link here. And it's going to load them up to the reset password. And the student would put their email in and they would set, please reset my password. And BioSig is going to walk them through that. So just keep your students. Will students have to create a BioSig for every course? They will not have to create a different BioSig for every course. No, they will not. Once a student has created a BioSig ID, they can use the same password in all their different Canvas courses. So for example, if student A created a BioSig ID for their 1301 class, all they would have to do now in, say, their 2313 class, a different Canvas course, if they come across BioSig, all they have to do is type in the same exact password. Well, not type in, they'll have to pantomime the same exact password. So that's something easy. You don't have to worry if students are going to have to keep track of multiple passwords, multiple IDs. It's going to be the same one for everything that they do in Canvas. So now we come across a really important piece. Where do we get all this information to put in our Canvas? Because it's really important that we are providing clear instructions for students. So many students may not be familiar with BioSig. Students are going to need this information, and they need clear instructions on what to expect when they're creating their password. So here is the solution for that. We have a PAC Canvas course already created, and it's called a template. And this is a blank course template that faculty can use to create their online Canvas courses. But what's so important about this template is that it already has pre-written BioSig instructions and assignments for students. And this template is located in Canvas Commons. And this can be easily uploaded into your Canvas course. And this prevents you the hassle of kind of composing the BioSig instructions yourself. Now, I've created 2 YouTube links that are going to walk you through this process. The first YouTube link that I've created walks you through pulling the PAC template and putting it all in your Canvas course. The second YouTube link that I created focuses on just selecting only the BioSig instructions, only the BioSig assignment for your Canvas course. Because many of you with fall coming up have already, pretty much already done building your Canvas courses, and some of you are not going to want to copy an entire new template in their Canvas course, and you just to access, a little bit of information. So that's why I posted both these videos here. And if some of you are already built your Canvas course using the PAC template, then the BioSig instructions and assignments are already there in your Canvas course. And it's going to be located in your Start Here orientation part of the Canvas course. So I'm going to play both these videos, and then afterwards I'm going to ask Julie if there's going to be any questions in the chat box that need my attention. So I'm going to start off by playing this video first.
First, select a course from your dashboard. For this example, I'll be using a blank Canvas shell. You do not need an empty shell if you're importing from Commons. If you already have a Canvas course set up, any information you will import will simply be added. Under your home page, you will see Import from Commons. You want to click on this. The fastest way to search for any items posted in Commons is by typing the designer's name. For this instance, I will type in Raleigh Way. Then I will select the PAC Canvas template. Then I will select Import/Download. Then I will see a list of all my Canvas courses, and I'm going to choose the blank Canvas shell because that's where I would like the template to be added. Then I will select Import into Course. Now I will go back to my dashboard and back into my empty blank Canvas shell. Now I should say that the template has been added to my Canvas course. And when I go and click on Modules, I would see the BioSig instructions. And I would also see the BioSig enrollment assignment.
So that pretty much walked through how to add the entire template into your Canvas course. Now the second video I'm going to play for you is demonstrating just pulling the BioSig information from that template into your Canvas course. Because many of us already have our Canvas courses set up, and we're not necessarily going to want everything from that template. So this video is going to walk you through that option.
First, select a Canvas course from your dashboard. For this example, I'll be using a blank Canvas shell. You do not need an empty shell if you are importing from Commons. If you already have your Canvas course set up, any information you're importing will simply be added. Under your home page, you will see an import from Commons. You want to click on this. Now, the fastest way to search for any items posted in Commons is by typing in the designer's name. In this instance, I will type in Raleigh Way. Then I will select the Pack Canvas template. Then I will select the Import/Download button. Now we'll see a list of all my Canvas courses, and I will choose which course I want to include this information in. Now, because I do not want to copy the entire template, I will select Download. By selecting Download, I will have a chance to choose which items from the template I want to include in my Canvas course. So now I will go back to my dashboard, back into my blank Canvas shell, under Settings, I will select Import Course Content. Under Content Type, I will choose Canvas Course Export Package. I will choose File, and I would find my downloaded information from Commons under my recent downloads, make my selection, click Open. Next, I'll click on Select Specific Content, and then Import. Now I'll have the option to select which content I want to include in my Canvas course. So in this case, I'm going to go under Pages, and I'm going to select the BioSig instructions. Then I will go under Assignments and select the BioSig Enrollment Assignment. After both my selections have been made, I will then click Select Content. Once this states it is completed, I should go to my home page and be able to find the BioSig Enrollment Assignment, and under Pages, I would find the BioSig Instructions. This method would be your best option if you already have a Canvas course that is already preset. And all you want to do is just to include the BioSig instructions and the BioSig assignment.
Okay, so before I move on, Julie, were there any questions in the chat box?
Yes. Sorry. One question or a couple questions. Do faculty need to assign points to a BioSig assignment? Does it have to be graded? My first instinct was no, but then if it's in an assignment, I think we had discussed having 0 points or something, or an ungraded or something. So maybe discuss that. That's the first question. And then I have a couple more. I don't know, do you want to hear all the questions first, or?
Oh, I'll answer that first one. So
okay.
If you decide to create a BioSig using the assignment process, you can decide to put point value. You can leave it as 0 points, but if it's attached within, if you create an assignment with it, it's gonna state, you know, how many points do you want to add for this. If you don't want a BioSig to be included as an assignment, in the next slide that I cover over adding BioSig to your Canvas, I'm going to show you 2 ways to add BioSig to a Canvas course. One is an assignment, which would allow point value to be added, which will then pop up in your gradebook. And then I'm going to show you a different way where you can include BioSig in your Canvas that's not going to have point values and that's not going to be included in your gradebook.
Okay. Then the next question is, hopefully Joe, that answered your question. And then another question, I actually sent out the email from Corey to all faculty today about the updated link or whatever it was about BioSig. Has that been updated in the template? I know we asked Raleigh to do that, but I'm not sure if he actually got that done yet.
I don't know as.
It is updated.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Joe.
Perfect.
We got that email yesterday, so we knew about it, and I asked Raleigh to update it. So that's Bill's, the response to Bill's question. And then Mr. Perez is having an issue. He said, I had a save file message when I clicked on download when importing from Commons. That might be something you'll have to talk to him about more fully, one-on-one.
Yes. Whenever you download anything from Commons, it's going to ask that you save it to your computer, because essentially it's a zipped file that you're downloading from Commons. If you chose to import from Commons, then there's going to be no need to download a file, just importing all of it in your Canvas course. So if you go back in that PDF and rewatch both those YouTube links, you'll see that those steps are slightly different. So if you're nitpicking, it's going to download as a file. If you're choosing that you just want the whole enchilada, then you're just going to follow the first YouTube link and it's going to be importing, and there's going to be no need to save a file.
Okay. And then another question just got added. What is the ideal time gap between checking the BioSig on Canvas?
Well,
I'm not sure what that means, Dr. Joseph.
Yeah, so there's no need for you to, the instructors aren't required to check in to see whether or not students have followed through on the BioSig ID. There's no checking in. You'll be able to see whether or not a student utilized BioSig ID just by stating, okay, this person skipped over an item in my module. But if you're asking how many times, like how much time in between each one of the BioSig ID sign-ins, you know, I mean, that's up to the instructor. If you want to have a BioSig ID and then the next week another one, or if you want a BioSig ID to be used every 2 weeks, I mean, that's up to you. All we're asking is that it be utilized at least 3 times a semester. And again, it doesn't have to be connected to an assessment. It's not test security. So hopefully that answers that question.
Yeah, that was it. Thank you. I mean, Dr. Joseph, you can let me know in the chat if that answered your question or if you have follow-up questions. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to move on to a different section now. This is going to be the student enrollment in BioSig. So what this YouTube video is going to do, this is probably going to be one of the longer videos I'm going to play for you, but this is what the students are going to see. So a first-time user who is going to be accessing and creating their BioSig ID, this is what they're going to see. And just so you guys know, the PAC template, the video that I'm playing from you, is also the same video that is going to be implemented in those BioSig instructions that's being pulled from Commons in the PAC template. The only difference is that you're not going to hear my explanation. You're going to hear the BioSig personnel doing the talking, but the video is going to be exactly the same.
The first time a student is set to BioSig ID, they'll be asked to create 2 passwords. To begin, you must choose which device you'll use to create your password. You'll see a list of options to choose from, such as a mouse or a touchpad. For this example, I will select mouse. Please make sure to pay attention to the directions and instructions that will pop up on your screen. For any explicit instructions, you will be asked to verify their understanding by selecting OK. For example, these instructions are asking us to create a 4-number or letter password. You can even create a password that is a combination of letters and numbers. When you are ready, you will click and drag to create your password. It is recommended to relax in order to draw in a natural and fluid motion. You will then recreate your password 2 more times. This is done so BioSig can accurately measure your biorhythms. At the successful third attempt of drawing your password, you'll be asked to create a backup password. This will be your Click ID. Your Click ID will be used in case you forget or you're having trouble recreating your BioSig ID. So please make sure not to forget this password. You will click anywhere on the keyboard. It is recommended to create a 3 to 5 character password. And just like your BioSig ID, you will have to recreate your Click ID 3 times. Then you'll be asked to validate using your original BioSig ID. Just as before, you will draw your password in the space provided. When done, you will click the Validate button. You have now successfully created your BioSig ID.
Okay, so this was just a short little video that kind of walks through what the student is going to be coming across when they create their BioSig ID for the first time. Please keep in mind that once that student has set up their BioSig ID, they're not going to have to go through this process again. They're just going to go straight to that little 4-section box and use their mouse. Okay, so now we're transitioning to adding BioSig assignments to Canvas. Again, it's been recommended that you do this at least 3 times through a given semester. So before I transition into this section, Julie, were there any questions in the chat box that need to be that need to have my attention?
Okay, I'm trying to answer the ones that I can, but there's some I'm unsure of. So Sheila is asking, she used an older version of Raleigh's template. So she'll probably have to update the BioSig page to make sure that that new link is active.
If you already used an old template that had the BioSig instructions, all you would need to do is just to delete the BioSig enrollment assignment. You can still keep the same BioSig instructions, and then you would follow those steps of just nitpicking certain items from the updated Palo Alto template. And the only thing you would need to worry about is just replacing that BioSig enrollment assignment, not necessarily the instructions. Those are still the same.
Okay, and then the next question is, can students use BioSig on their phones?
I believe it should allow a mobile version, and that's going to be accessible when they open up their Canvas app on the cell phone. I haven't come across any issues with instructors telling me that, you know, all my student has is a cell phone and they use the Canvas app and they're unable to use BioSig. So I can look into that, but as far as no one has brought any issues from students stating that the BioSig ID cannot be utilized using their cell phones.
Okay. The chat got ahead of me. The current template is already updated. Joe verified that. He's I'm sorry, just a second. I lost my place in the chat.
No, you're good. Thank you very much.
Virginia's page for BioSig that she's been using looks different than yours. Is the same, but will she need to update the enrollment link that she was using last summer? So I believe so, correct? Because of that new link that came out?
Yes, so the enrollment assignment that was added in the PAC template, that enrollment assignment has now been updated. So only the enrollment assignment would probably need to be deleted, the old one deleted, and then the new one pulled from Commons. But the instructions are the same. And the video that I played, that's the video that I'm pulling, that I played, that's in your template.
Okay, so yeah, you don't have to like delete the whole assignment. You just have to edit that link. Okay. Thank you for everybody that's helping in the chat.
Okay, so a lot of new information was given to us yesterday, but what I did was I actually came in and I redid this section of my PowerPoint. So what I have for you right now, as stated before, there are 2 ways in which you can add BioSig in your campus. And this is going to be the first way. And the first way is by adding it as an external tool. And this has no grade value. This is not going to have any points attached to it. It's not going to pop up in your grade book. So I took some screenshots that are going to walk you through both of these steps. And then I actually have a YouTube video that I'm going to play for you at the very end of these screenshots that's going to show this in motion being added to a Canvas course in real time. And again, this was redone because of that establishing link. All the steps are pretty much the same. It's just now on the external tool option, the link has additional writing in it, but you'll see as I go through. So when you're adding a BioSig, you can go to your modules, and in your modules, you have this little plus sign. And let me pull up my little spotlight here. So you have a little plus sign here. The first thing you're going to do is in that module that you want to include BioSig, you're going to click this little plus sign. And when you do that, you're going to be given this image right here. It says add an item to module. And then it's going to say, do you want to add an assignment, a quiz? And you're going to click on this arrow and your drop box will appear. And now you're going to be given different options. So what is it that you want to add to your module? And what you're going to do is you're going to click on external tool. So this is that new additional step that was discussed by district. So you're going to click external tool. And what's going to happen is that you're going to then search, you're going to find BioSig. Let me go back one because I feel like I skipped a step. But when you click external tool, it's going to pull up a list of apps, and one of them is going to be BioSig. It's the only one that has the word BioSig in it. And you're going to select BioSig, and you're going to add the item. And once you do that, you're going to see BioSig has now been added to your module, and it's unpublished. That's how any new items are added. They're automatically unpublished. So what you can do is you can make sure you publish it, and if you click on these little dots right here, if you click on it, you're able to click and drag this BioSig anywhere within your module. Now, again, this option is available to you if you don't want to create an assignment. Because if you create an assignment, it's going to have point value and it's going to pop up in your grade book. And it's, and if you don't really want to give students, a grade for this, this is probably your better option. So the second option that's available to you is by adding BioSig by making it an assignment. So you're going to kind of do the same thing. You're going to go in the module, you're going to click this plus sign right here, and it's going to generate this screen. And you're going to say, okay, this is going to be an assignment. It's going to be a new assignment. Or say you want to add BioSig to an assignment you've already created. Both of those options are going to be available to you. So you can either create a brand new assignment just for BioSig, or you can attach BioSig to an assignment that's already been made in the module. So you can make your selections. If you're choosing to make it a new assignment, you would type in the assignment name, and then you would click add item. Once you add the BioSig as an assignment, you're going to focus on your submission type. And then you're going to scroll down to external tool. And then once again, you will see BioSig. You'll select BioSig, and then you can decide how many point values you want for this BioSig assignment. So there are two ways on which you can add your BioSig to a Canvas course. Now I'm going to play the YouTube video that's going to walk you through the exact screenshots that I showed you. And this YouTube video is going to show you two different methods on how to include this in your Canvas course. And again, this this video was created just yesterday. So if there's some editing on here, I do apologize ahead of time. But I wanted to make sure that my video had in mind the new updates on adding BioSig.
So the purpose of this video is to walk you through how you can include BioSig in your Canvas course. Now, I'm going to go straight into my modules, and this is an
Okay. So no one's able to see the video.
I can see it, Mallory.
Oh, okay. All right. So
Ron, somebody said they couldn't. Ron, I don't know. Was that Ron?
No, I couldn't see it.
Can you see it now?
No.
It should be a video of
I
one
just
of
see
my
a copy of the Canvas show.
Yeah, that's the video.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Sorry.
You're fine. I'm just glad that I just want to make sure that everyone can see it. I wanted to make it look like the real thing, so that's a good. It worked. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna mute myself so you don't hear an echo on the video here.
So the purpose of this video is to walk you through how you can include BioSig in your Canvas course. Now, I'm going to go straight into my modules, and this is an updated video that includes the new changes that district made to BioSig when they saw a couple of errors were occurring when instructors were trying to use the BioSig ID for their students. So what I did here is I went straight to my modules. And then I'm going to decide, oh, you know what, module 1, I want them to have a BioSig ID. Now, please keep in mind that your BioSig ID is not a test security feature. It does not have to be connected to a test or a quiz. You can implement this at any point in time in your Canvas course. Right here, my module 1, I'm going to select this plus sign. And here, I'm going to select external tool. And when I do that, I can go straight to BioSig ID, and I'm going to click Add Item. And now I have this separate BioSig ID, and I can choose where I would like to place this information, and then I would unpublish it. Another way to add BioSig is if you want to include it in an assignment that you've already created. So right here, I have an assignment that I've already made. I'm going to click Edit on this assignment. And what I'm going to do is for submission type, I'm going to click External Tool. And after I click External Tool, I can search for my BioSig ID. I'm going to select that. And then I'm going to click Save. And now my students would have to theoretically sign in to their BioSig ID before they could see the Lesson 1 assignment. Another way to include BioSig is by, once again, going to your module. And for this example, I'm going to go into my lessons page, and I'm going to click the plus sign. And here, I'm going to click New Assignment, and I'm going to call this BioSig 3, and I'll hit Add Item, and then I can go in and I can kind of follow through the same steps again, and I will select that this is an external tool. I'm going to hit Find, and I'm going to say BioSig ID, then I'm going to hit Select. Here I can determine how many points. Do I want this under what group? Display grade, how many points this worth, and I can put a due date, and then I can click Save and Publish. And now when I click on my modules, I will see that BioSig is included. Now keep in mind, if you don't want to give any points for the student signing into their BioSig ID, I strongly suggest that you go the route of external tool. So that way there's really no point value that's connected to this, and you're able to click and drag where you want this item to be, and it's not going to pop up in your gradebook. So these are the different ways in which you can add a BioSig to your Canvas course.
Okay, so I just wanted to have that short little video that kind of walked you through the Patamine steps. I do know that we are getting closer to time. So for the recap, I just want to ask Julie, were there any questions about in the chat box that I can address?
There's just concern about this change that happened yesterday with that link that came from district. So the big concern is, you know, people have already put their BioSig assignments into their Canvas courses. So what do they have to do to adjust? Can they just edit the assignment, or can you answer that?
So anywhere that you had BioSig already in your Canvas, you would go into that section in your Canvas, you would click edit, and you would just Patamine to external tool and re-add BioSig that way. You don't have to worry, it's not gonna stack, you're not gonna have two BioSigs in one thing. All it's gonna do is it's just gonna replace that link. So everything should still go smoothly. You just have to go in and edit and just almost like, you know, Patamine the same steps that you walked through when you originally included the BioSig in your Canvas course.
So the only thing that you have to change is that that link. You just showed it in that video, right?
It has to say, the one that has to say verifyexpress.com.
Yeah, so there's only
That's all I
one
have to
link.
check. I just have to
Yeah.
check for that.
Yeah, so when you, in the video, you only see BioSig presented one time in the external tool. But the reason why they zoomed in on those words that you just stated was because the old BioSig didn't have that adjusted verbiage. So, and they don't want to confuse anybody by having two different kinds of BioSigs in the external tool. So there's only one BioSig to choose from in the external tool, and it has that new verbiage attached to it. So you don't have to worry about, oh, did the new external link, is there two separate ones? You know, there's going to be only one, but district zoomed in on the verbiage to show that the new external link has additional verbiage that's going to prevent any errors when students connect to BioSig.
Okay, can I ask you some other questions that are coming up?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I've always connected BioSig, Mr. Vasquez, I've always connected BioSig to a test. Should we not do that any longer?
You don't, it's your preference. If you already have it connected to your test, if that's what your students are used to, then, you know, don't go changing, keep it the same way. I just wanted to stress to people that BioSig doesn't have to only be included to a test or a quiz. But if you already have it set up that way, that is perfectly fine.
Okay, and then this is kind of goes with that. How would we add BioSig as part of a quiz?
So using that external tool feature that I just showed you, you would click and drag it above the quiz. And then there's, in my advanced Canvas, I'm going to be going over this in Alamo Talent to sign up. In my advanced Canvas, there's a way for you to edit your modules. So that way students can have to do everything in that module in sequential order. So it kind of forces them to do the BioSig ID in order to unlock that quiz or test that's going to be presented underneath it in your module.
Okay, and remember, if you need like more discussion with Mallory, you can reach out to her and just have a one-on-one conversation to ask her your specific questions. Let me just see. I will, yes, Brian, I'll add the PDF in the chat again. You want to do that right now, Mallory?
Yes.
Scan through these.
So as we're wrapping up, I'm going to add the PDF in the chat. It has all of my information that was presented here. I do know that we're running short on time here because at 3:15 I have another session in Alamo Talent minimizing the file size for your PowerPoint. So I just sent out this PDF to everybody. I'm gonna have to wrap up this meeting that we're having here because I need to transition into another Zoom session. But please, like Julie said, please reach out, email me if there's any more clarification that you need about using BioSig. I'm just gonna end this here. I'm gonna click on the final slide here. Again, all this information is presented to you in the PDF.
Okay, there's more questions in the chat. Caroline can, if you want to share your screen, you want to give, Caroline can show you what she did in her assignment to adjust. I don't know if you can, am I the host? Let's see. Caroline Maines says that
it took me like 5 minutes to do.
Yeah.
It's super easy.
Yeah.
Because I've been using BioSig for a gazillion years. And so I have old BioSig assignments in there. So I had to update and transfer the BioSig enrollment instructions from the Canvas template, but updating the assignments themselves was super easy.
Thank you, Caroline.
You're welcome.
Did you give her access?
Here I go.
To share? Okay.
Yes, but just so you know, Julie, at 3:15, I do have another Zoom session.
Okay. I think it starts at 3:30, doesn't it? This one was
No,
2:15
3:15.
to 3:15. I'm sorry, I'm making you stay in here longer.
You're okay.
Okay, so does everybody see my screen?
Yes.
BioSig verification assignment 1?
Yep.
Okay, very good. All you have to do is go to Edit Assignment Settings and scroll down, and you'll see External Tool. If the LTI is before interface, it's incorrect. So I click on, and I see BioSig, it's the second one listed. Select, and you'll notice interface LTI, it's reversed, right? And I click Save, and that's it. That's all I did.
Okay,
Awesome.
Thank you so much. I think that helps, like seeing the actual course, you know, from
Yeah.
faculty member. Thank you. And
I
yes,
thought you said 5 minutes. That was 30 seconds.
We just gotta make everybody
I'm not sure
happy.
if I got to all the other questions. Oh yeah, the power, let's see. People saying thanks, that it's helpful. Yes, BioSig, you need to use it. It's part of how we're justifying to SAC COC that we are verifying student identity in online courses. And since there's a definition for what online is, and our emergency remote fits that definition, so we need to use BioSig.
Okay, so any more questions, please feel free to give reach out, email me. It was great having you. I hope you learned a lot about BioSig. I hope this was very informational for you, and that you walked in a little bit more confident about how you can utilize BioSig. I'm gonna end it here. I just wanna thank you very much. Thank you, Julie, for helping me with manage the chat. I just cannot imagine being able to do this without your help.
No
So
problem.
thank you all. Thank you very much.
Yes, thanks. Reach out to Mallory if you have any questions.
Thanks, Mallory.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Mallory.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for putting this on.
Thanks,
Good, good.
Thank you. We'll get a new video up too. They're already giving ideas for new videos, Mallory. Like just what Caroline showed. Shoot, we recorded that. Maybe we could just clip that video from what Caroline did.
That's what I was gonna do, so.
Okay.
Mallory, your email is mdehoyos?
Yes, it doesn't
32.
reflect my last name.
Here,
Thank
I'll
you.
put it in the chat.
Yeah, it was my email from when I was a student here, so. All right, thank you all. I'm gonna have to end this because I have to transition over. I have my next one coming up, I hope some of you might be interested in learning how to minimize the file size of your PowerPoint. Thank you.
Can I ask a really quick question before you go?
Yes.
I'm so sorry. So do we really need to have the BioSig as the actual BioSig assignment, or can we just have the instructions and then add an external link to that module for BioSig rather than it being an assignment, but just an external link in the module?
So you have to have BioSig either you can use it as an external tool. It doesn't have to have an assignment for point value, but you have to include the BioSig sign-in process at least 3 times in your Canvas course.
Okay, perfect. Okay, that answers my question. Thank you so much.
Sure, no problem.
What happened if the student couldn't do 3 times? If they missed that particular assignment, what happened?
So if they're not able to do it 3 times, they need to contact you and explain why that is. So if BioSig is saying, hey, the signature is different on this BioSig, that should send out some red alerts, because that means, you know, is it the same person? Are they using the same mouse? Are they using the same method? So that they need to explain to you why that's not going through.
Thank you.
Okay, Mallory, get out of here. I know that you've got to set up your next session. Email her, you guys.
I am attending that too.